When you initially enter the cockpit, all the EIS displays are normally off. The displays require aircraft electrical power to operate, so unless either the APU or a ground electrical supply are available, the displays will not operate. We will connect a ground electrical supply for you. Once aircraft power is available, the displays can be switched on. First, let's switch on the PFD. After a short delay, some information will be displayed. As there is no data from the Air Data and Inertial Reference System, ADIRS, only failure flags are displayed. Now, turn on the ND. Both the ND brightness and the weather radar brightness are normally set to full brightness at the same time. The brightness levels of both EFIS screens are later adjusted to suit the ambient light conditions. Just like the PFD, after a short delay, the display will be visible but limited to failure flags because there is no data from either the ADIRS or the FMGS. You will see how the information changes on the PFD and ND as the ADIRS and FMGS come online later in the course. The ADIRS system is now switched on, and the PFD will display attitude, speed, and altitude data. Notice that the QNH is set by default at 1013 hectopascal, or 29.92 in inches of mercury. The setting of the ND mode selector will depend on the departure profile. This will be discussed in the FMGS modules, but we have already set ARC and 10 miles for you. When the ADIR system is fully aligned and the FMGS is programmed, the data displayed on the PFD and ND will be more complete. If necessary, the QNH value can now be adjusted. The choice of which additional information selector is used will depend on the departure, but normally the pilot flying has constraint selected. Select constraint. A green indicator illuminates on the push-button switch to show that you have selected it. The selection of the VOR ADF selectors will depend on the nav aids used for the departure. This will be discussed in the navigation modules. Now let's look at another selection on the EFIS control panel. An automatic function that occurred as the aircraft was powered up was that the flight directors were switched on. This automatic function occurred because the normal mode of operation on the A340 is with flight directors on. Notice that the green indicator on the flight director push button is illuminated and that there are indications in the top right-hand corner of the PFD. Look carefully at the PFD. This indication tells you that Flight Director 1, Captain, and Flight Director 2, First Officer, are switched on. Notice that there are no Flight Director crossbars displayed. This is normal because on the ground they are not required. You will see later that during the takeoff, the Flight Director command bars will automatically appear. You will see more on flight directors in the autoflight modules. If the aircraft is being completely shut down, the EFIS displays are turned off using the appropriate brightness control knobs.